A very good morning to all my dear children. How are you all? I hope all are safe and sound. I'm here to welcome you all to the History and Civics class, the Mauryan Empire, Part 2. So let's get started, children. In today's class, let us learn about or let us know about Ashoka. Ashoka succeeded the throne, that means he became the king after his father's death in 273 BCE. On ascending the throne, Ashoka took the title of Devana Mahapriya, that means the beloved of the gods. Okay, so when he became king, he got the title Devana Mahapriya, that means the beloved of gods, and Priyadarshi, the beautiful one. All right, so after Ashoka became the king, this was the title given to him, that is Devana Mahapriya and Priyadarshi. And what does it means? It means beloved of gods and the beautiful one. All right, then let's see about the Kalinga War. Okay, after his accession to the throne, that is Ashoka fought only one major war. Okay, after Ashoka became a king, he he had only one war. Why? Let's see that. That and the war which he participated was the Kalinga War. Kalinga War was a powerful. Okay, Kalinga was a place. Okay, and it was a powerful kingdom. It was a powerful kingdom which had not been conquered till now. It was not conquered by anybody, and it was a powerful kingdom. Kalinga controlled both the land and the sea routes to South India and Southeast Asia. So, these Kalinga was controlled by both the land and the sea routes by the South India and the Southeast Asia. All right. Beside, control over Kalinga would contribute to the economic prosperity. If we get the control over Kalinga, it would contribute to the economic prosperity of the Mauryan Empire. So Ashoka thought of conquering this Kalinga. Alright. Therefore, in 261 BCE, Ashoka attacked Kalinga and conquered it. So, in 261 BCE, what did Ashoka do? He attacked Kalinga, which was a powerful kingdom, and conquered it. Alright. However, Ashoka was so moved by the death, destruction, and human suffering in the war that he decided not to wage any war in future. That means now once when we have a war, there is a lot of destructions and of human suffering. Many get wounded, many will be dead, many will be died in the war. After seeing, no, he was very much touched. Ashoka was so moved by the death, destruction, death of the human being, death of the animals, the elephants which were used in the war, and human suffering in the war. Many lost their loved ones. All right, many got wounded. That he decided not to wage any war. Seeing this, Ashoka decided not to wage any war in future. From then onwards, the policy of Digvijaya, that is, from that then onwards, after that Kalinga war, he introduced the policy of Digvijaya. Digvijaya is nothing but conquest of territories, was replaced by Dama Vijaya, that is conquest to Dharma. He embraced Buddhism and devoted the rest of his life for the welfare of his people. So he was following Buddhism and devoted the rest of his life for the welfare of his people. All right, so Ashoka was you can make out his personality that he was very much spiritual, and he was following Buddhism, and he devoted his rest of his life, though he was a king, but he devoted his rest of his life for the welfare of the people. Okay, and after that Kalinga war, he was very much moved by the deaths and the destruction of the human suffering in the war, that he decided not to wage any war in future. Okay, and from then onwards, the policy of Digvijaya is nothing but conquest of territories. Okay, in order to conquer the territory, was replaced by Dama Vijaya, that is conquest to Dharma. So anything has to be conquered to Dharma. All right, not if you want to conquer the territories. Then Ashoka is known in Indian history as one of the greatest rulers of India. So he is known as one of the greatest ruler of India. This is because of the following reason. So why he was known as the greatest ruler in Indian history? Ashoka is the only king in the history of the world who gave up conquest after winning a war. Okay? He devoted himself to the welfare of his people. He replaced the policy of Digvijaya, that is Digvijaya, conquest of territories, with that of Dhamma Vijaya, that is conquest through Dharma. Okay, so he promoted mutual goodwill and respect among different religious sets. All right, so he promoted mutual goodwill and respect among the different religions. He also respect the different religious sets. He was the first ruler who tried Toto take ta his message to the people in his inscriptions. Okay, inscriptions means he used to give in his book, that is who tried to take his message to the people through in his inscriptions, through in his book. All right. Next, we will see welfare state. What is a welfare state? Okay, I told you, no, Ashoka was working for the welfare of the people, welfare of the state. Welfare state is a state in which the government plays a key role. Okay, here the government plays a very important key role in the protection and promotion of the economic. And what is the role of the government here? They protect and promote the promotion of the economic, that is improving the economic and social well-being of its people in that state. So that is called as a welfare state. So I repeat, children, what is a welfare state? A welfare state is a state in which the government plays a key role in the protection and promotion of the economic and social well-being of its people. Okay, the state established by Ashoka can be described as a welfare state. So, the state which was established by Ashoka can be described as a welfare state because he was a key who played a role in the protection and promotion of the economic and social well-being of his people in his state. All right, children. And then, as it was based on the idol of paratalistic state, this is indicated by Ashoka declaration in one of its edicts. It was showed in one of its edicts. All men are my children, just as I desire for my children that they may enjoy every kind of prosperity and happiness both in this world and in the next, so also do I desire the same for all men. Okay, so Ashoka says that all men are my children, just as I desire for my children that they may enjoy all the kinds of prosperity and happiness both in this world and in the next, so also do I desire the same for all the men. Okay, children. It shows that Ashoka believed in the policy of the king being the father to his people. So Ashoka took a number of measures for the welfare of his people. This included the following. Okay, so Ashoka believed in the policy of the king being the father to his people. So, though Ashoka was a king, he was like a father to his people of his state. So, Ashoka took a number of measures for the welfare of his people. Let's see what are those. He appointed officials, okay, officers known as Dharma Maha Mantras, who went from place to place to spread his messages. He built roads and planted shady trees on both the sides of the roads for the travelers. He built a number of rest houses for the travelers to rest. He got a number of wells dug to provide clean water to the citizens. Now, who is this he? None other than Ashoka. He arranged for medical treatment for both human beings and animals. So, these were the things that was done by Ashoka in his welfare state. With this, we come to an end of this session. The remaining part of this session will be continued. Until then, thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you. Bye bye. God bless you.